G'day mates, how's it going? I'm EllynoreMoonwood, and in this video, I will be demonstrating how I voice Antisepticeye. If some of you guys might have seen my previous content on this channel, which isn't a lot, you might have noticed I did a tutorial on how I voice Darkiplier. This is going to be just like this, except we're first focusing, of course, on a different character. So, you see this audio here? I'm going to play you what we're going to be working with. So, let's have a listen. Going somewhere, Jackie boy? And that is the audio that we're going to be working with. So, you've noticed that there is some background noise. I didn't demonstrate on what to do with it in my Darkiplier tutorial, but I will do this in this tutorial because I think that will be very beneficial, especially for those who are very new to voice acting and recording in general. So, what I'm going to do is, with the noise, you want to be able to figure out where the noise is coming from, listen carefully, and figure out what to do with it. Now, I've listened to this a bunch of times. I know where the sound is. It's just around this area here. There is some birds chirping around this part here, but we will deal with that soon. So, will you have a piece highlighted in the audio where you've got the noise focused predominantly on your work? You want to go to Effects, Noise Reduction, and then Get Noise Profile. This is a two-step process. And then afterwards you want to highlight the track that's affected, go to Effect and Noise Reduction again, and then click OK. And then this will just clean up the audio in just a matter of a second. Depending on how long your track is, it will take longer because it's got more to work with. Another thing too is I'm going to collect this information, not collect, but highlight this section and go to Generate and Silence. Reason for this is because this track is going to be loud. There's multiple layers going on at once. And there is still a little bit of noise to get rid of, but I would not recommend doing another noise reduction process, otherwise it could damage the audio here. So we'll leave that be. So click OK for the silence generation, and that'll do the same at the end. This is just a little failsafe that I like to do just in case something were to happen. Now, I'm going to make a copy of this after I get rid of this excess space over here, which is not needed, by the way. You only need like this amount of space. I've saved half, maybe 3/4 of a second at the beginning here, mainly because there's a certain effect that I apply in this process that I will demonstrate soon. But you need that space to be able to make that effect, well, effective, for lack of a better word. And this space here is just to, it's just there for the purpose of, it's just there. Like, usually I would cut it like around here, but I think if I were to cut it just as the life would end it, like a little bit of it at the end might have been cut off. So just for the safe side, I would just keep an extra second here in case something were to happen in the editing process. So I'm gonna make a copy by doing Control D for duplicate. You can also do that process by going to Edit and then Duplicate here. But I did Control D because I'm keyboard savvy and that's what I like to do. Just a preference. So we're not going to be focusing on the top one, we're going to be focusing on the bottom one. So I'm going to mute that. It's going to be like a little reference. I'll just rename this as before. So that way, if something happens, I could just go back to this if I ever make a mistake. So, keeping this highlighted. There is one other piece of information that I have come across as I was voicing Anti and Doc for the Ego Incorporated blog on Tumblr, which I highly suggest you check out, shameless plug. And that is the equalization tool. Now, as I've used it more and more, I've come to rely on this very often over time, due to the fact that with equalization, it can help boost your audio to making it sound more crisp, near studio grade. And I think that'll be really useful. So, when you've got your track highlighted, this is something that you want to do. It's very simple. Go to Effect, then Equalization over here. Now, there's a setting here that you can go to. Under Select Curve, you could go to the Bass Boost. I've got a custom setting that I've got applied called EQ Boost. So what Bass Boost is, it basically raises the bass levels by 9 decibels. But with EQ Boost, I've customized it to make sure that it's 6 decibels instead. 9 is a little bit much, in my opinion. Like, you don't want too much bass, otherwise all you're just gonna hear is this odd boom constantly. And I think that might be rather annoying. Some people like a lot of bass, but me, not so much. I like a balance. So, I'm gonna click OK to apply. Now, you might have noticed that the waveform here has just been expanded. That means it's gonna a little bit louder. Now, I'm gonna show you exactly what the equalization has done. Going somewhere, Jackie boy? I'm going to be playing back the audio time and time again as I'm applying the effects, so that way you guys know exactly what each effect has done. And the equalization has pretty much given that piece of audio a bit of a boost to make it sound better. This is a pro tip. So, with that done, is where we get to the fun parts. So the first thing I would do, after I've done all the cleanup, added the equalization, I'm going to lower the pitch. That way, the audio here sounds more masculine. Because I am a female, my voice is quite neutral even for a woman. And that's not going to do for the voice of Auntie. Otherwise, it's just going to sound like a completely different character that just sort of has the similar attitude like Auntie. It could work for a femme Antisepticeye. I almost said femme Darkiplier, excuse me. So, you'll want to reduce the pitch. So, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to lower it, and I'm going to give it a number. I'm going to say, excuse that, just had to check if the number lock was on or not. Negative 13 points. And I'm going to lower that. And now let's see how it sounds. Don't mind that black bar, I'll click it away. Going somewhere, Jackie boy? A very clear difference, even with the pitch. Now, depending on how your voice sounds, if you were to voice him, you might have to go with a different number. If you've got a higher voice, you might have to lower it even further than 13 points. If your voice is lower, you might not have to do as much. Maybe if you got like a really deep voice, you might have to lower it by just, let's say, 2 points. I don't know, just throwing it out there. But depending on how your voice sounds, you might have to fiddle around with the pitch just to make sure that you've got that right level. I found a 13 is the best one, particularly for me. So, after doing that, we're going to add in the reverb. And what I'm going to do here, this will be a little confusing, but I will explain why. I'm going to reverse the track, and then I'm going to go into Effect, and then Reverb, which is between repeat and reverse. I got a reverb, and it's a preset I like to use called Small Room Dark. And the reason why I use that is because the levels, particularly for the Small Room Dark reverb, is because it adds in that sort of reverb that is needed to sort of make it sound like it's coming from a small enclosed space with very little lighting. That's why it's called Small Room Dark. But you'll hear why I choose that for a reason. And you also know why I want it. I am applying this effect while the track is reversed. So I'm going to click OK to select the preset. The adjustments have been made on these levels. Do not fiddle with these, please. unless you know exactly what you're doing. So we'll click OK. And now the reverb has been applied here. And then the next part, we're going to reverse it back to the way it's supposed to be. And now, let's have a listen to what I have done so far.
Going somewhere, Jackie boy?
Kind of sounds like it's a demon who is speaking from this sort of tone, especially when the sound is going towards the dialogue rather than coming out from the dialogue like reverb usually does. Laws of physics and all that. So, with the spook factor added in, we're going to go even further by adding in probably one of the most tedious but the most fun part in the process. Adding in the glitches. So, I've listened to this track a few times as I've said before. So, this part here where it says, Jackie boy? You might think he might be referring to Sean himself, or even Jackie Boy Man, the superhero alter ego. In this particular part, I'm going to add in a glitch around where the J is enunciated. So, around this part here. Yep, that should do. And now, with this part selected, I'm going to go into Effect, and then Repeat. When you start the program, it'll detect 10 as the default suggestion. 10 is way too much. I would say 3, 4, 5 would be a far more acceptable level for these glitches. So I'm going to put in 4. Also, if you're wondering how I was able to zoom in, I used Control 1 on my keyboard. You can also use the hourglass figures that allow you to zoom in and out. So, clicking OK to apply the glitch. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, sounds like somebody is being electrocuted to a point. So, another thing I'm going to do is, you don't have to apply this to all of the glitches, but one thing I like to do is, I like to fiddle around with the pitch even further. Once I have that glitch, that repeat tool done, highlighted, and then I just throw around with different levels on the pitch. Excuse the background noise around me. There is a plane flying by, and that is very annoying. But you probably won't hear it as much. Now, let's lower it down to, let's say, an extra 5 points. Let's see how that sounds. A bit of a difference. Now, let's zoom out. Now let's see how it sounds with the glitch added in.
Going somewhere, Jackie boy?
We're getting somewhere with that, folks. I can tell you that. Now, the next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to add in 2 more glitches to continue on with the demonstration, especially in this little laugh here, which is where I like to put in the glitches the most. Kind of throws people off, and even puts in the spook factor up to 11. Well, maybe not that much, maybe a 9, but hopefully you get where I'm coming from. So, there's some specific parts in there, like I'm going to pick a part in random based on a waveform on where I want to put in the next set of glitches. So let's say I want to go around, let's see here, around the end. Just had to play just to make sure where I was. And then I'm going to go to Effect and then a Repeat tool again. Let's go with 5 this time, since we've got a smaller piece to work with. And I'll wait for this to apply. Let's see how it sounds like. Alright, it's shorter. We're gonna lower the pitch even further. Let's do it by 11 points. Let's see if it will be effective. Okay, very predominant change in the scenario. Let's see how it sounds when I've got this part selected. Alright. That's a little bit shorter, but you can work around it. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can go nuts with this sort of thing, but don't go too much, otherwise the audio is just going to be indistinguishable, and that's very annoying. Go easy, but also don't be afraid to hold back. Now, how about this part here where it gets a little bit higher? Yep, definitely higher. So, with this part here, I'm going to use a larger portion to work with. Yep. And then, going back to the repeat tool here from the effects menu, I'm going to add in, let's say 3. And I'll wait for this to apply. And then I'm going to go into the pitch menu, and then I'm going to increase it this time. This time by 7 points. Now it's a bit of a shrink, but don't worry, we can work on this. Let's see how it sounds. Alright, rather subtle, but it's not the end of the world. Sometimes subtlety can work really well if you know what you're doing. And now, highlighting this, I'm gonna click on this. This will allow you to... This says Fit Project, which allows you to display the entire project based on the length of the monitor that you've got. So, with this in mind, we have done the glitches. And now, we have one other thing to do. We're going to duplicate this again. So Control-T. And now, with this selected, I'm going to split the stereo track by going here and then clicking here, split stereo track. And now we've got 2 mono tracks. So, before with this one, this is just one selected track, and it's in stereo form. These 2 tracks here are mono, and they're both separate tracks to work with. See how it's highlighted as such. So, one neat little trick I like to put in, especially for Anti, when you want to throw people off, you want to be able to... Let's say you want to be able to demonstrate that Anti is not a person you want to mess with. It's not someone that you really want to look at and say, I want to pick a fight with him. You'll get yourself killed instantly. And his voice must demonstrate that it is a character you should not mess with in any way, shape, or form. Do not take him lightly. And so, here's a neat little trick that I'm going to do. With this selected, we're going to play around with the pitch. Once again, there's a lot of pitch to go about with this sort of procedure. So go change pitch. I'm going to lower this pitch by 22 points. And then I'm going to shift the audio orientation all the way to the left ear. And then I'm going to do the exact opposite of what I just done here to this one. So I go to pitch, and then increase it by 22 points to make it higher. And then I'm going to put this all the way over towards the right ear. And I think that should just about do it. Let's have a listen to see what we've got.
Going somewhere, Jackie boy?
And that is the Antisepticeye voice. And this is how it's demonstrated. So, let's say we were going to do a before and after comparison. And let me do so real quick. And do so for the original.
Going somewhere, Jackie boy?
After.
Going somewhere, Jackie boy?
And now you know how the magic is done. So, as a recap, which I will display on screen, there's a number of steps that come into play whenever you're voicing Anti. Obviously, you want to be able to do as much as you can with your own voice without straining yourself or going overboard and wearing out your vocal cords to sound as much like Anti as you possibly can. And then you do all the effects to put in the extra work and basically add in that magic that brings that voice much more, that brings that voice to life and even adds in as much of the authenticity to the original Antisepticeye voice as you possibly can. This took me a while to figure out how to get this done, but after seeing some tips from some tutorials for other different voices, I've picked up some new things along the way, and I'm hoping that this demonstration will help you out as well if you want to voice Anti yourself, or if you want to have a guide to, let's say you want to create an original character that would sound similar to this. This could help you out immensely if you're looking for something that gives off that scary vibe that you're after. And so, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration. And I hope you'll have fun with this. It took a while for me to get this sorted out, but I'm glad that it all worked out in the end. And of course, if you have any comments that you want to send to me, any suggestions, or if you have any feedback on this tutorial, please don't be afraid to let me know. If you're watching this on Tumblr, please don't be afraid to give it a reblog if you want to share this around to other people on your own blog. And if you want to see more of my content, please don't forget to subscribe. Even though I don't put up videos very frequently, the videos that I do put up are the ones that I believe are worth sharing, and I hope will be very enjoyable for other people. So, thank you guys again for watching. Take good care of yourselves. I hope you all have a pleasant day or evening wherever you are. And I will see you all next time. EllynoreMoonwood out.